Today we're going to talk about shiny object syndrome. So, SOS, I have it and I can't get up. So, I don't know if this resonates with anybody, but this used to be me, and sometimes it is still me, depending on like what we're talking about. So, I don't know how many of you guys, first of all, even with like fitness, this is like a really good example and it's easy because we're all here because we're on a fitness journey, but like how many of you guys, and like just be honest, I'm not trying to like call anyone out or make anyone feel guilty, but like have started something new just to like abandon it after 2 weeks or like completely throw in the towel. Because maybe you see something else that might be working better, or your friend does something and like starts a new diet, and you're like, oh, she just lost 5 pounds. Like, I'm gonna stop my diet and like, girl, put me on to what you did. And then now you're gonna start what she did, and then it just kind of spirals from there. So, this doesn't always have to be just with fitness, it can be with anything. So, oh, here are some signs that maybe you suffer from SOS, and maybe you don't even realize it. So once again, like the easiest example is starting something new but never finishing it. So like maybe buying like an expensive planner in January, you're super excited, you fill it all out on Sunday, and then now you're not even using it because now you feel like maybe you should do it on an app. And you don't want to write things down. Or maybe like you can't decide whether you want to like cut or bulk. I used to do this all the time. Like I consistently was like, hey, I could like lose 5 pounds, or but I really want to like build an ass. Like, what do I do? But you can't do both. So it's like 1 month I'm working on losing 5 pounds. The next month I'm like, hey, I'm trying to build a butt. And it's not, I actually wasn't doing either. I was just staying exactly the same because I wasn't following through. Or yeah, jumping strategies or different habits because you see a new influencer doing something or a better routine. Or maybe you're like just genuinely trying to do research and you're comparing all the options, and like there genuinely is multiple ways to do one thing, but maybe you're having like paralysis analysis or whatever it is, analysis paralysis, and you have too many choices. So then you end up just being like, hey, I'm actually going to do nothing because I don't even know where to start. Um, does this resonate with anybody?
For sure, me.
What do
I
you think comes up? Go ahead.
well, like I think for me, I also have like diagnosed ADHD, so like I just have always like started stuff and stop it, like or I do this a lot with like skin care specifically. Like I don't try anything long enough to even see the results. Like I'll just like be like, oh, like this person said this worked for them and this person said this worked. And like I'll just switch up a lot. And like that's something that I've been working on, especially this year, like consistency with like one thing.
Yes, and I'm so glad you said that because if no one said anything, that was literally my example I wrote down. Like, I would like, first of all, you're trying to find someone with the same skin type as you or the same issues as you. Now you're like deep diving, buying like five different things that cost $50, and like you don't even know because it could be one product that's working and it's like you don't even know which one it is or what's not working. And then like I finally went to a dermatologist, which I highly recommend that you do, because they ended up giving me two products and I've been using them for 4 years now. And even sometimes now I'll be scrolling and I'm like, do I need that? And then I'm like, no, bro, you already know you don't. Like, you just need to be
Yeah.
consistent with what you're doing. So, um, I feel that. Anyone else want to share?
I have done this in the past with supplements. And I know you saw my laundry list of supplements that I was taking.
Yes.
But like, oh yeah, like doing my own research and being like, I've heard this is good for PCOS and this and this and this, and then all of a sudden I'm taking like an insane, and I'm like, what did I even, and not taking them in consistent order or whatever, and then or not doing it long enough to even see if they're working, and it's just such a waste of money. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that
that's
was like the
definitely
one thing I said with you too. I was like, if you're not going to take this specific one for 3 to 6 months every single day religiously, like there's no point because you're not even going to know. So like it's not even giving time to compound in your body and see if it's even
right.
effective or whatever. But yeah, I feel like so many people in here that struggle with PCOS feel the same thing because it's like there's so many. And yeah, you have to give it each ample time because it's not saying that they don't work, but it's like you don't even know it's working if you don't stick to it.
Exactly.
Oh, I
Exactly.
love that. Thank you for sharing that one too. All right. So let's dive into like why this might be happening. So there's a couple reasons for this. It could be one, it could be a combination, or it could be all. But like we live in a fast food, I want it now society, first of all. Like that's just the way we've adapted. We have Amazon Prime. Like I don't even know how I lived without it before. I literally just got on my boyfriend's like 2 weeks ago, and I buy so much stuff because it's like I don't have to go to the store. Like it's right here. I can get it right now. Um, Same thing with DoorDash or, going out to eat. It's like we don't want to wait for stuff. We want it now. Um, and so same thing with like, as you guys know, specifically like Fitness Journey and stuff too. It's like if you're looking for a quick fix, it's probably just a Band-Aid. They really rarely will ever work. Um, and then FOMO, I feel like it's also a huge one. And a lot that we were just talking about is like someone else is doing it and now you're feeling left behind or maybe like you're not seeing as fast as progress as them um or also like maybe even with like ads it's like I'll look at something or literally say something out loud and then before you know it I'm seeing ads all over the place and it's like I don't even know which one to use or what not to use and yeah um and then another one would be lack of clarity. So like you haven't even really like defined your goals in the first place. So honestly, at this point, like everything sounds good. Like you're just like, yeah, I'll take one of those and I'll take some of that. And but if you don't know where you're going and what your goal is, then at that point, like any road will really look like the right road for you. Um, and so, yeah, speaking of even just those examples with like supplements or like skincare, does anyone like if you guys want to share that like resonates with one of these that you feel like is like the cause of why you keep wanting to try new things?
I think for me, it's definitely instant gratification. Like, I want my clear glass skin today. And like, it like, I understand that, like, things take time to work. I understand, like, your skin takes like however many months to like renew itself. But that's just like not good enough. Like it's just like I want it now. Like I want to lose weight today. Like if it doesn't work like within a week, I'm just like, okay, clearly this is not working. And like logically, I know that does not make sense. But I think just from being insecure for so long, I'm just tired of feeling the way that I do, or like I'm just tired of like the dark marks on my face, or I'm just tired. Like I just want to be the person that I see in my head. So it just like I keep wanting to speed up the process that I know that like consistency will get me to. So th yeah, that's like I instant gratification kind of like I feel that really hard.
Yeah, and it's funny, and thanks for sharing too, but it's like funny how you said like even logically, like it doesn't make sense. So I just feel like I resonate with that too. Like sometimes it's funny because it's like we're saying it out loud or like we're saying it to ourselves and we're like we know better, but sometimes like you're saying it's like hard to even like fight that urge of like the angel on one shoulder, devil of the other, like, I know, but um it's interesting because it's like I just want to like challenge you too of like maybe where does this show up in other places or like digging deep into like why do we all and I'm saying this to everyone, not just to you, but like why do we all think that like once again like it's a quick fix it's gonna work for us when we like know that that's not true. And then we'll dive into that in a second too, but it's like on the contrary, and we'll dive into it. We can start thinking about times where we have been consistent with things and it has worked and it has paid off. And then we can start like using that as examples and like real world examples and reminders of like, okay, if I actually am just consistent, I'll actually get that faster gratification and I'll actually get there versus not doing it. And so it just takes time to like build the social proof. And that's a lot of stuff that I talk about, even just like within the program itself, too, is it's like it's hard to change the way that we think and our actions and stuff until we can find something to be consistent with and prove it to ourselves. And then it's like that becomes our new truth. So, um, I wanted to dive into this because, like I said, if you haven't done the vision board already, I highly recommend going back to that. And so, for those of you who have, I wanted to do a cute little awareness check of like, do you have SOS? Like, how are everyone's vision board goals going? Has anyone stuck with any of these so far? Um, have you maybe already like changed or considered changing your approach to one of the goals that you set? Are you like maybe even done with one of them altogether and you're like, I don't even care about that anymore. Like now I want to do this. Once again, like we're human. It's normal to get distracted, but I want to know if anyone in here wants to share how their goals are going. If it's a win that you want to share that you are sticking to, great. If this resonates with someone where you're like, wow, I actually am not, or it changed, I would love to hear it.
Um, hey, so I haven't made a vision board yet. I'm fully calling myself out. I want to,
Okay.
I need to. But I will say, goals that have started, it's amazing how paying attention to what you're eating and going back to the gym actually yields results. It's like, duh, like I've been trying to just do it half-assed for so long. And actually sticking with this for the last few weeks and like actually seeing some results and feeling good and like my energy's better. I'm like, oh wow, like why haven't I been doing all of this instant gratification, like chasing all this instant gratification or like constantly switching it up and not doing consistency because doing this just for a few weeks, like I'm already feeling better and I'm seeing things and like stuff's going in the right direction. So while I haven't made this board, I have it in my brain, and things are happening. So I'm excited about that.
No, that's so exciting. Like you literally just finished week two. So it's like the fact that you're on week two and you're like already seeing that. It's like honestly, like I would personally say like that's pretty instant gratification. Like you started seeing something week one and like week two, and like you're saying, it's like, wow, if I'm just consistent with my workouts, my calories, my protein, and my water, like it does work. And so it's like it doesn't have to be difficult. But like it's really cool. Like, and some people don't see results as quickly as 2 weeks, too. And everyone's bodies are different. So I don't want to like highlight just that. But like how you're saying, it's like crazy that you're already kind of being able to see things come into fruition. And then now you can use that as like fuel and motivation to like stay the course. Like you have clarity and like now you just gotta like not forget. So like write this down. I'm like, journal it. I always say like you should always journal your wins or anything like this so that and date it too. Like put today's date, put that down, journal how you're feeling so that if you do have like a bad day or a bad week or something, like you can come back and reference to it to be like, okay, one bad day or one bad week isn't really determining that I'm not making progress, too. So, but yeah, once you make your vision board, drop it in the group chat because everyone was sharing and I would love to see it and check in throughout the year.
Okay. Okay, I will.
Cool. Anyone else want to share anything about their vision board or how it's coming? All right, we'll dive in to how to break free from SOS. So these are just a couple things that you can save and like have tools in your toolkit, if you will. I don't know why I couldn't say that. So once again, you could be all of these things. You can pick and choose what's calling to you or what you need. But the first thing is to really define your North Star goal. Pick one clear goal. And then be able to kind of reverse engineer from that. So once again, in the vision board group call last month, I showed you how to set one clear goal and then reverse engineer and create simple steps on how to actually get there slowly and sustainably. So that's step one. And then once you can kind of pinpoint what your strategy is, I want you to challenge yourself to stick to something for 90 days. Like really go all in and like trust the process, no jumping ship. And like, even if you feel tempted or once again, like have a bad day, I really want you to like tunnel vision and just say, no, like I'm not entertaining any other strategy until after this 90 days. Um, and so one thing that I think comes up a lot too is like, once again, new ideas. And so, if you're someone who constantly has new ideas, I don't want to necessarily say that this is bad, but I just don't want you to, have the shiny object syndrome and go to the next thing. So, I want to challenge you to have like a shiny object parking lot. So, this could be like a journal, it can be in your notes app, but like if you have a really good, solid idea, don't just be like, no, I can't. but write it down and wait to test it because a lot of us aren't giving things. Same thing with the skincare, same thing with the supplements, same thing with fitness. Like we just don't actually give it time to be effective. And so we can't even really rule out which one's working or what's not working. And so I want you to just try something, whatever your goal is for 90 days. And then at the end of it, you can kind of test and pivot accordingly or fine tune or tweak things at that time. And I would just love to even like see if anyone ends up doing this and has an example to give of like what ends up being something that you end up doing versus that ends up not really being an idea that you want to pursue anymore. Because when I do this, some of it still stands true and then it turns into like a to-do list and then I'll, go after that. And then some things I'm like, hey, that wasn't even necessary. So it's kind of cool to see what ends up going in your little parking lot. Okay, and then track progress weekly. So once again, like our small wins, even with like our client check-ins and everything, it's like remembering that like even if you're 1% better every single week, like by the end of the year, that's 52% better or whatever the case may be. Like it really will build momentum. And you just need to be consistent with it. So set like a weekly check-in with yourself on Sunday to see if you've been like sticking with your habits or not. If this is hard for you to have like your own, I guess, like discipline or like intrinsic motivation to like hold yourself accountable, I really want to encourage you guys to either like share it with this group or with me or with a friend or someone that you trust, just to keep you accountable. Sometimes just like speaking things into existence really makes a huge difference too. Like sometimes I'll post it on my story just to be like, hey, like I'm putting it out there in the world and like you guys are now, even if you're not specifically telling me, like the fact that like I know that like I put it out there and that like I'm gonna feel obligated to like give an update on that, makes me more likely to hit the goal. But you can also like make it fun too. So if you don't necessarily have a buddy, or if you do, like I always say, like have like a little treat or like a little reward system for every milestone that you hit, whether that's like a new outfit, whether it's something actually for the goal. It could be something small, like a Starbucks treat or something. Like it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to like ball out. But just having that little reward system also reinforces it. And it's a psychology hack too, to kind of like reinforce a positive association with this habit or in with your goal. So, um, and then I just kind of summarized in that last little bubble there of like clarity really is key. Let's focus on one thing at a time. Check in weekly, park the shiny objects until later. We can always go back and, really leverage your support system, however that you can. So, the next thing I want to kind of challenge you to do, if you see something in particular, like that is distracting to you, or if you have a specific goal, I want to challenge you to kind of like drown out all the noise of everything around you just for the next 90 days of what doesn't like align with this new version of you or, like with these goals. So, the first thing I always do is like if there's any like people that don't align, if there's any like accounts or influencers that like trigger me, and this doesn't have to be that like they're trying to like sell you on a product or something, but like if you're on like a fitness journey and you see someone who has like some pretty like unrealistic bodies like standards for themselves, it's like really hard maybe for you to not compare yourself to this person, or maybe they really inspired you at one point in time, but they just don't inspire you anymore, like just mute them or like unfollow them. It doesn't mean that like you can't go back to it later, but if something's triggering you or distracting you, or if you feel like you're constantly comparing yourself to this person, just mute them for a little bit. Let's curate our feed and like really be careful of what you consume. Like the music that we consume, influences us, things that we watch, things that we see on our feed, and then obviously like people that you surround yourself with and everything. Like just be intentional, because at the end of the day, the only person who can really control that really is us. So, same thing with like emails. I don't know how many of you have like some like things that you're subscribed to that like maybe aren't the best. Like you can unsubscribe. I want to challenge you once again with just the power of one challenge and just focusing on one area, one simple thing for the next 90 days and to track progress so that once again you have like some real tangible evidence that, you know, you're making strides. So I want everyone to take a second, and you don't have to share. If you want to drop it in the chat, that's cool. If you do want to, hop on and share too, I want us all to pick one goal to focus on for the next 90 days. So this can be from the vision board, it can be something that you just come up with right now, but this is going to give you clarity and this is going to be like your North Star. After that, I want us to reverse engineer and brainstorm what is the single approach that you're going to do and how are we going to stick to this? So how are we going to form, how are we going to allow this to form a commitment to our goal? And saying yes to this is going to help you identify all the things that you're going to say no to or the people you're going to unsubscribe from. And it's going to be your non-negotiable. It could be something small, it could be something huge, but like we're really going to like go all in tunnel vision on this. And then I want to encourage you to either like set a calendar reminder or even like when we do our weekly check-ins, you can use that as a time to reflect. And please feel free to share in client check-ins too. Um, how that goal is going. And once again, like this is going to be what's allowing us to build consistency so that we can either like refine if needed or just continue to keep it pushing. Like I always say, if it's not broken, then we're not going to fix it. So if you're not doing the things and you can't say it's not working, that's what I always say. Like you got to be at least hitting it like 80% of the time. You don't have to be perfect every day or every week, but like if you're not doing it, then you can't be like, "Oh, I tried that and it's not working," because like you're not working. Um, so I want to give everyone a couple minutes and I'll set a timer. And so I want you to really just think, what are you gonna like, what's your one goal that you want to focus on for the next 90 days? Is it gonna be learning a new skill? Is it gonna be booking that dermatologist appointment so we're no longer buying TikTok influencer skincare routines? Is it gonna be narrowing down on your supplements or like what is it gonna be? So I will give you guys a couple minutes. Please don't bark, girls. No, no. I just realized I don't even have the chat box. I can't even see. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. Oh, I'm so mad I didn't have the chat box open, calling you out with the planner, bullet journal. I literally tried to do a bullet journal. That is so funny. Okay, does everybody have one? Does anyone need more time? If you need a couple more seconds or a minute, just let me know in the chat and I'll give us a couple more minutes. Okay, cool. So Does anybody want to share what their one goal is or what they want to be focusing on for the next 90 days?
So I'll go. This is
Ding.
going to sound really simple.
Okay.
But I think my goal, just because I'm starting with all this, I'm very early in this journey. And one of the biggest things I know I need to focus on is getting 80 plus ounces of water a day. And I feel like that's something for me that I can really cling to and just be like, no, no excuses. Absolutely do that for 90 days straight and see how good, like, just so where it becomes like really hammered in as a habit. I know that's kind of already a goal of mine, but like putting that 90 days, like doing it every single day for 90 days and like really drilling it into my head, I feel like I need that.
I love that. Yeah, and once again, it can be something truly that simple, but like that small goal is going to make a huge difference. And like you said, like you're still learning that. So that's huge. And I was also
Yeah.
going to say that too, is like for everyone here, it's like you guys are being in this program is already showing a form of this. Like you guys are already committing to one strategy, and like we are actively working on like breaking this pattern. So depending on where you're at, in the program or in your journey, that's going to look a little different. And so I just wanted to either allow you to use this to inspire you to apply it to like other goals in your life, or like you said, it's like no, like I'm committing to this strategy of this program, and like you already gave me what my three goals are, and like let me just like really hone in. And if you're struggling with your water goal of like that's a non-negotiable, like I'm gonna hit that. So I love that. And it really can be that simple. And yeah, put it on a sticky note, put it on your mirror, reflect on it daily, put it around your house. And celebrate the wins too. Maybe get yourself a cute water bottle or whatever at the end.
That's the last thing I need.
You're like, I don't need more shit. Thanks,
I
Taylor.
know, right? No, but I hear you. Like I already have I have no excuse. I already have a 40-ounce Stanley. I have a 40-ounce simple modern whatever. I don't need another one. I just need to be more consistent with drinking at least two of those a day, every day, no matter what. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
I love that you said that because I feel like a lot of us think that like, oh, I need to go buy this or I need this in order to do it. And it's like sometimes we already have everything that we need. So we just need that, redirection or the reminder and like recalibration, if you will. So I love that. Does anybody else want to share?
Yes, I'll go.
Yay.
Um, I need to, well, next 90 days, consistently getting my workouts in and hitting the gym. I've just been traveling a lot, and I feel absolutely exhausted, but then sometimes I feel like not moving my body enough is making me exhausted in a weird way. Um, so just being consistent with my workouts.
Yeah, and that's huge too. And I always say it's a catch 22 because it's like we always feel like we need energy to work out, but in reality, we need to work out in order to have energy. And so it sucks because at first, like you're even if sometimes you're motivated and it's like you're all gung ho, and then sometimes it's like no, like you just got to be disciplined and you just got to do it. Like it's like going to work, it's like doing things that we don't want to do. It's like you got to wake up and do it sometimes. But I love that you said that. And then also it's like, okay, I want to dive into the next slide too, and this is kind of the one that we're going to end it on, but it's like, you know, how am I going to make this happen too? So it's like, claiming it is the first step. You know how you said it's like, okay, like I need to focus on this. But one thing you said was like, I'm so busy. And so it's like, how are we going to like avoid distractions? And like, I'm not saying this you have to answer right now too, but it's like, is there something that is distracting that becomes more important that also maybe feels productive? Like sometimes it's like, oh, like I need to clean my house or I need to do that right now. And so it's like you almost find like other things that are still important on your to-do list to do instead. Or, whatever the case may be, time gets away from you. So these next prompts, I just want us to kind of sit and kind of end with this of like, okay, we defined our goal. And then I always like to say, like, paint a picture of like it's kind of like a manifestation technique of like, what is it my life going to look like? How am I going to feel? What's that going to be once I actually have like already achieved this? Like, what's going to be happening? And so that will also kind of help you step into becoming that person too. It's like a alter ego exercise that we have to do sometimes. So it's like painting that vision and making it super fucking clear also makes it easier to achieve it because once again, it provides more clarity and gives you more of a why and is like your why behind why you're doing it. And then we can also journal about, either like having examples of times where we successfully avoided distractions and like really was able to follow through and be consistent. And maybe just like kind of reverse engineer and think like, what about that strategy or help or that habit allowed you to stay on track? And how can we apply that same principle, behavior, mindset to this new current goal too? Because sometimes it's easier for us to stick to certain goals in different areas of our life than others. And so it's kind of important to reflect on, kind of self-diagnosing, like, why do I act like that when it comes to this goal, but not this goal? Um, and then, yeah, once again, like, what's the one shiny object or what's a distraction that we're gonna like set aside and just, put it on mute and tell it to shut up for the next 90 days? And how are you gonna remind yourself to stay consistent even when you feel tempted to switch paths? So, um, it's gonna kick us out here in a second, more like 5 minutes. So if anyone wants to, start sharing right now, or if you guys want to start journaling on this, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes. And then after that, we'll wrap it up. So, um, yeah, I'll give you guys 2 minutes actually. We'll meet back up in 2 minutes. Cassie said she needs to be more intentional with how you spend money. Yeah, sometimes we treat ourselves a little too much. I know we talked about budgeting in the last call too. Finances is always, I feel like, a huge one at the beginning of the year. People are doing taxes, people are reevaluating and setting goals. So, dog training. I love that example. And I'm like, girl, tell me which one works because my two dogs are being quiet right now, but yeah, I love how you said like my dog gets confused. Like it's like the dogs are going to be confused too, and we're confused because we're getting all this different information all the time. So it's like, how are we supposed to know what we're supposed to be doing? So that's actually another good example of what happens when you do too much. All right, couple more seconds here. I loved the budgeting. I loved the dog training. Is there anyone else who wants to share what they're going to be focusing on and maybe something that they have to avoid in order to do so?
I think for me, I really want to focus on like journaling, because like before, I would say like in December, I realized that like I had a journal and like I decided to like I decided that I wanted to start journaling more. And I just like never got around to it because I was traveling so much. And then like for Christmas, my friend gave me like this beautiful, beautiful journal. And then like you sent me a journal and I was just like, I feel like that's all the signs that I need that like I can have like a food journal, I can have like a regular journal. And even like with our check-ins, like I found myself like it's only been like I don't even know, 3, 4 weeks, and like I'm already like reading back on the stuff that I wrote in like the check-ins, And like I find it so helpful to myself in such a short amount of time to see where I was like a week or two ago, or how I was feeling or what I was doing. So like I just feel like if I just actually kept up with it and like journaled more things than just like what I'm eating and like how I'm feeling, like I feel like it'll be so beneficial like in the long run.
Yeah, no, I love that. And like you said too, it's like those were signs from the universe. And so, yeah, definitely do that. But yeah, and sometimes it seems too daunting or you're when but start small. It doesn't have to be, this elaborate, you know, poem or like an essay, too. It's like even just bullet pointing and getting short and sweet to the point on some days too, when like you don't have the time or energy to really go in depth, is still cool because you'll remember and be able to reflect too, and just make it your own is all I'm trying to say. So there's no right or wrong way of doing that. It's just doing whatever feels right to you in that day and that time and continue to fine tune and tweak things. However works today for you, for that, it's like you're allowed to test it out. So, um, anyone else want to share something? We got like 2 minutes left. Morning routine. We got a couple people with morning routines and getting to bed on time. I love it. Okay. Honestly, these are all really good, and I just loved like the range of like some that seem quote unquote simple, but like something that also seems simple to someone else might be really hard for you. And so once again, it's a little different for everybody, and we all might be kind of struggling with different things. And like Jordan, she's like, I need some me time, where it's like that's really hard when you're like a mom and a wife and working and going to school and stuff, where it's like for me, like I get to hang up with this call and I'm gonna go crochet a little blanket. Like it's like that's different for everybody, So. Thank you for sharing, everybody. And, keep us posted. We'll do check-ins and everything, and keep me posted in our check-ins. I would obviously love to help support you or just be your accountability buddy. But I'll send you guys off with this is that slow and steady truly does win the race. We don't need to be running after the next thing, and we need to stay in our own lane instead of looking at someone else's. Like having focus at the end of the day is where power comes from and what breeds momentum. And so this is your journey. And once again, it's going to look a little different from everybody. So stick to it, own it, and remember that focus beats frenzy every single time. So thank you guys all for sharing. I really appreciate you guys. And I'm really excited for the next one. And yeah, make it a good week. Love y'all.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.